welcome to Gentle Yoga at 2 p.m. I'm Jeani, your host for the next hour. Today's class is kind of a continuation of last week's. We'll be working on our balance, finding center, and standing poses are all in our first part of the practice today, a little longer than usual. So if you have if you have blocks, if you have issues with balance, so you want to be near a wall or have a chair nearby, for instance, when we're in tree or Tadasana, today we're going to be balancing on one foot. So things like that. If you have a balance issue, have a wall nearby, have the back of a chair. We're going to use things like a yoga block in those few poses too to help you if you're in the transition and you're able to stand and balance. So just keeping those things in mind. And the props near you. With that said, before we begin, just wanted to let you know we are starting July Thursday classes at noontime. Same format of the class, it's just we're going to be on Thursday. So I'll try and remind you again at the end of class. Thank you. And we'll just arrive coming back to the mat and just allowing the body to relax in our mountain, our home pose. You don't have to change the quality of the breath. Just give yourself some time to arrive. And as we begin to quiet down, notice how the mat feels under the feet. Have a slight bend to the knees. And then we'll begin to cultivate our breath. Bring the left hand to rest on the chest, right hand under the belly button. Begin with the next inhale to feel a little longer, a little taller. And as you're breathing in, maybe the shoulders lift at the top of the inhale. And as you exhale, slowly with a little more control, go ahead and firm the belly, engage the core at the bottom of the exhale. For the next few breath cycles, just notice how the energy enters the body. And with each breath, how it moves through the body. All right, and we'll begin to bring movement and the breath together. Go ahead and release the hands to the side. Lift the toes, lift the heels. You can always rock on the soles of the feet as we transition in case you grip the mat. Returning to our mountain, let's go ahead and inhale. Start to feel the energy lifting through the feet, lengthening through the body, through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, slowly feeling the energy returning, the body rooting down as the energy returns to the earth. With the next inhale, we'll start to bring the center of gravity towards the toes. And at that edge, before you start to tip over, we'll go ahead and slowly use the next breath to move the center towards the heels. Notice how the shift in that center moves to that edge. And just use the next couple of breath cycles. See how that feels, and we'll return to center. Somewhere at the top of the ankles, closer to the heels. And I encourage you to reset the mountain. Inhaling once more, feeling a little taller. We'll go ahead and exhale, slowly feel the weight shifting towards the outer right edge of your feet. Long, tall body to that edge, and then we'll go ahead and inhale back to center for a 3-part breath. All you have to do is exhale to each side as you inhale to the center. Try to keep the legs and the body nice and long, inhaling to the center, exhaling to either side. And once that horizontal mapping has been made, we'll go ahead and meet at center, back in mountain. And then one more time, inhaling nice and tall. Start making small circles at about the ankles, making them wider, finding the perimeter edge of the feet. in this one direction. And once that's found, we'll go ahead and tighten in the circles. Meet back at center. Inhaling once more. We'll go ahead and make that same journey, but in the different direction. Starting from the ankles, moving out towards the edges of the feet. Sometimes it's a little rockier, a little choppier in one area, one side. And then we'll meet back at center once that's identified. All right. And moving on up the body, we're going to lubricate the ankles, the hips, the shoulders a little. Start to widen the stance and start shifting your weight from side to side. And as you do that, you'll notice the torso can start to swivel from side to side as well. Let the arms be really relaxed and next to the sides. And on their own with the momentum, they might start to just gently tap the sides as you're turning. Don't forget to lift the ball of the foot as you move more of that torso to the side so you don't torque the knee. And we'll go ahead and just keep shifting. Feel a little bit loosening up in the shoulders. And then we'll let that energy peter out. And once again, returning to our home of mountain. Moving up towards the shoulders, standing a little taller in our mountain. Go ahead and give yourself a little bounce, reset the mountain. Feeling more of the weight equally distributed through the soles of the feet. We'll start with our shoulders next. So inhaling, let's go ahead and lift the shoulders towards the ceiling on the inhale. Exhale, roll them back and down. A total of 4 of these breath cycles to help guide the shoulder rolls back on the exhales and upwards towards the ceiling with the inhales. And after your 4, we'll go ahead with a second round, and this time allow the exhales to help the shoulders roll forward and down. All right, and then go ahead, shift the weight in your feet, reset your mountain. We'll move on up to the head, allowing the throat to open, the jaw, allow the crown of the head to lift towards the ceiling. With the inhale, and then exhale, let the right ear dip towards the right shoulder. Inhaling one more time. Take the right hand gently, just place it on the left side of the neck and allow it to gently caress. Just slide the hand, slight friction of the skin with the fingertips towards the right. Just gives you a nice gentle turn of the gaze, assisted by the hand, and you get a nice little drag on the scalene muscles around the neck. It's just a point that will help you and help relax. It's some glandular points that you'll be hopefully releasing better with the exhale. Okay, let's go ahead and inhale. Bring the gaze, the head completely back up. Exhale, allow the head to dip towards the left side. Left ear, still a little above the left shoulder. Exhale, turn the gaze. Let the left hand gently caress the right side of your neck. We're not pulling the neck, we're just gently allowing the friction of the skin to help release on the right side of our neck. A few more breaths, a total of 4 breath cycles here. Maybe the eyes can rest on the leftmost side. And then we'll go ahead and inhale. Bring the eyes, the gaze, the head completely back up, and then let the eyes exhale. Let the eyes roll towards the top of the mat. And let the back of the neck long. Inhale, extend towards the ceiling. If you feel that the soles of the feet have rolled out, try to bring a little more weight towards the center. In our transitions, sometimes we have a little imbalance, and to regain the balance as you move into the next move, into the next pose. And after your very last exhale, let's go ahead and inhale. Bring the eyes back to the center, past the midline, towards the ceiling. And when you can see the ceiling, go ahead and stop craning the neck. Keep the shoulders rolled back and down. And take the next few breaths. Just release in the front of the throat and the jawline. Maybe a small O opening to a larger O. Keeping that center still from the heels all the way to the chest. And after your very last exhale, we'll go ahead and bring the eyes back down towards the midline. And here, go ahead and just lift the feet, shake out any activated muscles in the wrists and the legs. Sometimes you can roll on the feet, lifting the toes, lifting the heels. We'll go ahead and start our walking sun salutations. So bringing the arms down to the side, just extending them downward, reaching. Let's go ahead and inhale, extend the arms up. Exhale, start to fold, hinging at the hips, engaging the core. Slowly floating down. Halfway, you can walk the hands down. Just letting the back slowly relax, feeling that center of gravity from the hips all the way to the heels, while the tailbone down the spine to the crown of the neck. Crown of the head down the neck to the crown of the head is just relaxing, feeling a little heavier with each exhale. Total of 5 breath cycles in our first extended fold, our ragdoll. You can go ahead and swivel hips from side to side. You can bend one knee and then the other. And you can keep a deep bend to the knees if the backs of the legs are really tight. You're doing a lot of walking activities, squatting activities, anything like that. Just keep a bend to the knees, feeling that release all through the back and lengthening through the legs as is able while you're in a fold. Alrighty, and with the next inhale, we're going to slowly roll up. Start to engage the core, pressing into the soles of the feet. We're firming up the legs, slowly rolling up the spine, one vertebra at a time. You can walk the hands up if you need. And at the top, just allowing the blood to rush back to the head. Palms facing forward. We'll do that one more time. Extending the arms downward. Go ahead and reach inward. Upward goes the arms. Fingers reaching at the top. Inhale. And then exhale, fold. Start to engage the core all the way down as you're floating. And you can always walk the hands down if you need. Deep bend to the knees if the legs are super tight. And we're here only for about 3 breath cycles this time. See if you can tip the weight towards the toes. See if you can tip the weight towards the heels, and then find center once more. Solid from the hips all the way down to the heels. And then getting ready one more time for another return to our mountain. You have a choice of either the slow roll up or using a straight back, an engaged core either way. Let's go ahead and inhale. Start to roll up or come up with a straight back. I'm going to come up with arms straight, head all the way up, hands up and down, heart center. And let's start moving into our walking meditation. Lifting the right foot. Exhale, the right foot down. Inhale, left foot up. Engaging the core if you feel a little wobbly. Exhaling the left foot down. Inhale, right foot up. Exhale it down. Meeting at the top of the mat in our mountain, looking down at the fingertips. Inhale, press into the palms, watch the fingertips rise. At the top, we separate the palms. Exhale, engage the core and fold. Bend the knees if you need. Try to keep a long back. And down at our third fold. Inhale, press into the shins for a half lift. Try to lengthen through the back as best that you can. Exhale, fold. Return the hands to either side of the feet if you can. Step a right foot, a left foot, many steps back if you need until the feet are back at the mat. And inhaling, we're bringing the shoulders over the wrists. Fingers are splayed. Go ahead and bring the knees down, untuck the toes. And we're in high plank, modified. So just check out how your upper body is supported. We want the shoulders directly above the wrists, fingers splayed. But if you need to, you can always tuck the toes, lift the knees a little bit, and walk the shoulders a little further back if the wrists are a little sensitive. We don't have to have that 90-degree angle at the wrists. The back of the legs, the shins, everything from the shins to the tops of the feet should be supporting that lower half of the body. And we'll go ahead and inhale. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, and exhale, press into the arms to a down dog. Somewhere in between the upper arms should be the ears. And you don't have to be on the heels. You can be on the balls of the feet, or you can slowly make your way towards the mat. See where you land. Some of us might have our feet on the mat. If so, you can go ahead and just play with the positioning of the toes a little closer in as the heels are just a little wider. But if they're lifted, just work on gently finding some length in the arches as you're lowering the heels, finding length in the calves as well. Now we're here for a while, so we've been here for a while, so let's go ahead and inhale. Roll the eyes towards the hands, and we're going to exhale, bend the knees, and walk the hands to the back of the mat to our fold. Feet can be hips distance apart. Inhale, half lift, lengthen through the back. Exhale, fold. Just relax the torso back into the fold, and then inhale, engage the core, pressing into the feet, firming the legs. You can slowly roll up once more, or walk the hands, or come on up with a straight back. Hands above the head, inhaling completely, exhaling, hands down, heart center. Our second walking meditation. Inhale, standing left foot, inhale, right foot up, exhale it down. Inhale, left foot up, exhale it down. One breath cycle per step. And at the top of the mat, let's go ahead and look down at the fingertips, pressing into the palms, watching them rise above the head. Separate the palms, exhale, engage the core, hinging at the hips, we fold. Float on down to your fold. Inhale, press into the points of contact with the hands for a lengthening of the back, lengthening of the legs, best that you can. And then exhale back to the fold. Bring the hands down and walk the feet back to the mat, to the back of the mat, to our high plank. Inhaling, shoulders over the wrists. Staying here for 3 breath cycles. Inhaling and exhaling, engaging the core, making a strong line from the heels to the crown of the head. Let's go ahead and inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, bring the hips back to the down dog. Adjust the feet, positioning if you need, and the arms, hands. Feel that upside down V, warrior U. And hands, feet going downward as the hips are lifting upwards, engaging the core. Let's go ahead and keep the bend to the knees. Inhaling, looking to the hands with the eyes. We're exhaling, walking the hands to the back of the mat, to the fold. Fully exhaled, inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come on up, your choice. Engaging the core as usual. Exhaling, hands down, heart center, and finally down to the side. Just a breath or two, just to let the breath catch up with the blood, rushing back to the head. And it's a great time for some water. I don't know about you, but this 100-degree weather week has been pretty hard here, so keeping hydrated is so important, especially if you have arthritis, If you're dealing with any kind of issues of the body in our aging, hydration is key to maintaining homeostasis. Just be hydrated. All right, keeps you focused too. All righty. Coming into our next round, we're going to be standing a good deal. So we want to be near a wall, near something that's going to have some kind of support for us in case our issue of balance comes to bear. So we'll also want a block and a strap if that's something that helps you to reach to support a leg. We're going to try to balance on one foot. You don't have to, if just standing on one leg, as we typically do to find that center, and just hovering that sole of the foot above the mat, you can do that. That's, you know, balancing on one foot. Balancing on a toe while you have the heel lifted, that's balancing on one foot. We're going to try all of those things and just do what you can. So with the block this time though, this is only if we want to exercise maintaining the lift of the one leg that we lift. If we have that ability to lift up our knee high enough to rest above, hovering that block. And the block will just act like a landing pad. If we need to rest our foot during that breath, it'll be there. But it's not going to be placed at the back of our heels like in our chair. So standing sideways here, I'm just going to show you a basic mountain pose. And as you're standing with the hips distance apart feet, you have more stability. So you can also stand in mountain with your feet a little closer, but that does require a little more challenge to your balance. So if you want to find that really good base, start at hips distance apart, and you can always challenge yourself once your balance is there. So with the beginning standing pose, we used to do this as part of our warm-ups. As you recall, we're going to inhale standing weight to the left side of the body. And once you do that, you can feel that shift in the center. And as you feel the stacking of the left side of your body on that left leg, you should feel something of the knee above the ankle, the hip above the knee, the shoulder above the hip, the ear somewhat above that. So one long column right about here, such that you can just probably lift up that right heel and you don't feel that change in that center of gravity. Hopefully that's the case. Then you can start to bring the right foot a little closer to the left, and hopefully just playing with the hovering of that right sole of the foot as you determine if you can lift the right foot and stand on one foot. That takes a few breaths there. So 3 to 5 breaths to see if you can play with that. You might have to tap down, that's okay. You might be standing, hovering. That's good too. Wherever you are, you're just finding that standing balance on the one side of your body through the left leg. All right, let's go ahead and gently bring the right foot and balance to both legs now. Go ahead and bend the knee slowly. Go ahead and press down on all points of the soles of the feet, especially at the big ball of the foot, under the big toe. Both feet go down. Just feel that gentle rocking from side to side on the arches of the feet, and then find that center. Feel the lengthening from the legs as you're lengthening from the soles of the feet all the way up the legs, through to the crown of the head, like that string lifting upwards. You can feel your feet pressing downward as your torso is lifting upwards. And then we'll go ahead and relax. In our mountain, bend the knees once more, deactivate anything, just find that gentle bounce. Now we're going to move to the right side. So feet are about hips distance apart. You can go ahead and roll to the tips of the toes, roll to the back of the heels, lifting the toes, and then find center once more. In our mountain, inhaling, bringing standing weight to the right side of the body. Go ahead and feel as if you're pouring standing weight towards the right side. You might feel a slight lifting of the left heel, a gentle bend of the left knee, so that you can find more of that support in the right side of your body now. If you feel that stacking of the ankle under the right knee, under the right hip, under the right shoulder, and the right ear, go ahead and see if you can play with the position of the left foot. Can you hover the left sole of the foot above the mat? Do you have to tap down every now and then with some part of that left sole of the foot? It's okay. If you're able to hover and breathe, engaging the core, feeling that stability. If you have to tap out every now and then and just hold earth once more with the toes, with the heels, that's okay too. All right, we'll go ahead and slowly return the weight towards the left foot. Regain the balance between the two hemispheres of your body. Go ahead and gently bounce, gently bend the knees. Find that balance once more. Lift the right foot, bend the right knee. Play a little bit with the rolling of the right ankle. Shift the weight. Gently play with the rolling of the left ankle. We'll go ahead and come back to our mountain once more. Go ahead and give yourself a little bounce. Roll to the backs of the heels, lifting the toes. Roll to the balls of the feet, lifting the heels. Go ahead and give yourself a little bounce once more. And then stand in your mountain. Feel longer and taller in your mountain. Feel as if you've got a gentle tuck under of the tailbone. And you're pressing down on all points of the soles of the feet, lengthening through the legs. The spine feels nice and long. Gentle tuck of the chin. It's as if a string is lifting you up through the crown of the head. All right, we're going to go ahead and in our mountain, nice and tall, go ahead and extend the arms upwards. If you can only come up to an angle, that's fine. Stay there. If you can come straight up and down, that's good too. We're going to exhale, just bend at the knees, feel the weight drop towards the heels. We're moving into chair. Go ahead and just sit for just a moment in your chair. Feel the weight in the heels. Lift the toes. Lower the toes. Inhale, straighten the legs, bring the arms down. Just let them float. Tilt the torso slightly forward if you need, but let those arms just relax. Maybe they'll just start making small circles on their own, just slightly. Go ahead, inhale, feel nice and tall. Roll the shoulders back and down once more. And we're gonna go ahead and walk forward. Now here, we're gonna see if we can lift our leg and just keep it lifted for a little longer than we did before. You can use the block if you have the ability to lift the foot higher, and see if you can just hover the foot above the block. If you need to tap down, the block is there. If you need to use a strap, having the strap assist you in this second part is fine too. So I'll demonstrate with the strap. But we're standing in our mountain once more, finding weight in the left standing leg. With an inhale, you can exhale, but just find a breath to help set that standing weight there. And as you feel that support, you can hopefully lift up the right heel and start to walk it closer to the left foot. See if you can bring your toes and the strap to meet. In standing, you might have to readjust your center once more, but you can use the strap at this point to help lift the foot. And you can bear down on the strap a little bit too. That's a transition that you can do. You can just continue to lift the foot up if you're able to. And if you've been lifting your foot up for a while, go ahead and rest it. Lowering the right foot, finding the balance once more in both legs. Lifting the left foot. Sometimes you might even find an imprint of your foot on there, so go ahead and lift it. Shake out any residual muscles that are activated on that left leg. Forward, and on that same side, in this case the left side, before you cross over to the opposite side, in this case my right side. Alrighty, and that was a lot. If you can keep your leg up for a long time, that's a really good indication of your health. If you're working on it, like most of us, just steady support of gravity before you lift the other foot. Once you can get there, then you play with that positioning, but you're always listening to the body and how it is feeling during that time. We'll go ahead and move to the other side with the strap again, and you can imagine how the block, you could just move the block to the other side, positioning it to where you need to if you want to have that as your safe landing pad. Or you're just going to be up in the air with gravity. Alrighty, for our next set, our next round, second round, standing nice and tall in our mountain, shifting weight one last time to the right side, feeling that support, and then you can lift the left heel. Start to walk it closer. If you're using the strap, go ahead and find contact with the ball of the foot with the feet. When you're ready, go ahead, start to play with that hovering of the left foot. The left sole of the foot might be just a fraction above the mat. It might be playing against the strap. You're dealing with your balance. And hopefully you're finding that support on the right side of the body. You can always tap down. And then we'll go ahead and rest the left foot slowly downwards and find the balance again. Both hips, both feet feeling equal support of the body. Gently bend the knees. If you're finding you're able to have release with a forward gentle kick, same side kick, right side in this case, before we cross over. Release through the shin muscle, the thighs, the glutes, anything that has to kind of really hold steady that body as we're in our standing position. And we'll go ahead. I believe we'll do one more chair in here. If you want to use the block, you can. You can lift the heels. You can just stay with your heels on the floor. But we'll have our second round of chair to round out that standing position. Get that little buckle out of my mat. And in the chair, and you can face forward. However, I'm just moving to the side so you get a chance to see the perspective. Feet again, being hips distance apart is easier, but if you want more of a challenge, bring them closer together. Arches touching is very challenging. So, standing once more in our mountain. Let's go ahead and inhale, arms up, wherever you may find them. And then exhale, just slowly bend the knees and sink into your chair. Feel the glutes engage, and you're good in your chair. Bending the knees deeper, keeping it down, low in the chair. You can lift the toes to make sure you have that heel, hip to heel support. And you can always bring the arms down if your shoulders are tired. Otherwise, you can feel as if there's energy moving from the shoulders out through the arms. Go ahead and roll up the heels or stay where you are. Give yourself 2 more breaths here, breath cycles. In, exhale, and on the last exhale, go ahead and slowly lower the heels, lifting the arms up, straightening the legs, exhaling, slowly letting the arms just float back to the side. And then we're going to make our way down to the mat. And however it's most comfortable for you, sometimes I just like coming down to the mat from a fold that's gentle and walking. You can come down to the mat in your fashion. And if you do come down in like a squat mode, you might have your hands out in front of you as you're slowly lifting up the heels. So however you find your way down to the mat, we'll be coming onto our sits bones in an upright seated position and legs out in front of us. So slowly moving, noticing how the body is feeling. Sometimes the hips might be a little tight, sometimes the calves might be a little tight, lifted, and we're just bringing the feet out in front of us and notice how it feels. Meeting in our staff, a wide-legged staff. So for some of us, that might be 2 of these floor tiles in the community room is what I used to always think about. 2 feet to 3 feet. If you have really tight hips, it might just be 1 foot, and that's okay. If you're very flexible in the hips, and you might have 4 tiles. It just depends. But you want to feel as if you're not, overly extending yourself. Feel as if you've got a good glute flesh moved away. The knees, the toes pointing towards the ceiling. If you really are turned outward, if just want to slowly rotate that orientation towards the ceiling, maybe bring the legs in a little closer, and that's okay. We're just hopefully, once we've got our base of the wide leg here, we want to kind of play with that pelvic bowl rocking. Is the tailbone sticking out back behind you, or are you tucking under the tailbone? If you tuck under the tailbone, the back tends to round out a little more, sort of like when we're in the chair, and we don't want that pressure in the lower back, so we kind of want to round that out. It's the opposite here. We kind of want to straighten that up and get a little taller. So we're going to roll the tops of your hip bones, the pelvic bowl forward, and see if that lifts up the spine. And then notice how that feels in the rest of the body as you're transitioning for your foundation. We just want to feel nice and comfortable. We've got even distribution of weight on our on our hip bones, all the way down to the feet. So if you tend to roll out because of habitual posturing, just the way you've moved all your life, just something to consider as we're sitting here and trying to get the joints to gently release. Now once that's there, and if you can feel as if you've got a good support on the sits bones, we'll go ahead and start to inhale. You can lean back a little bit if you need to bend the left knee. Just slightly externally rotate it outwards. We're going to just slide this left sole of the foot towards that right leg. You don't know where it lands, but if you want to use a block to help you find your edge, you might be able to make contact between the sole of the foot and the right inner leg, maybe at the calf level, maybe at the thigh level. The more open your hips are, the higher up the foot will go on this opposite leg. And if the hips are very tight, you might have a little release, a little support with the block underneath there to help you in that transition of opening the hip. You might just need time and gravity to help you as well. So again, these are all transitional things that you can do in your practice as you're moving along. And again, it's about 3 to 5 breaths to find that sweet spot. And if you found you've gone a little too far, you can always move out and come back in or meet at a more comfortable position until we're ready. Alrighty, so here now we're just finding hopefully that opening in the left hip. Once you've found a comfortable spot here, we're going to inhale once more and get long in the spine. And then exhale, turn the entire torso just slightly towards the left. The shoulders might move, and then find a resistance, and that's where you stay. And then relax. Find that balance on the sits bones. See if you can lengthen up through the upper body as you're finding support in the lower body. And you can always move the block if you find the opening and the block no longer serves your purpose. And to come out after your very last exhale, let's go ahead. Start to slowly lean over to the right if you need help, that left knee up. We're going to lift up on that left hip if you need, and Slowly lengthen through the left leg. And your hands could always assist you, but that's the movement that we're making. We're internally rotating the hip as we're moving the leg downward. And go ahead, give your feet a little bit of space. If you swerve off, that's okay. Go ahead and return to center. Give a gentle bounce to the leg. Reposition the gluteals again once more in our staff. Making our wide-legged stance once more. And once we're in that transition, we'll move to the right leg now. So go ahead and lean back if you need. Bend the right knee. Start to rotate the right hip outward so you can draw the right sole of the foot, the sole of the right foot over to the left. See where you land. Take the next 3 to 5 breaths. You can have the block. Your strap is always handy to help meet that distance if you need. You can always use these. So we start with the legs since we're in the sitting position as our main foundation. Once we find that spot where we can meet the distance in our best ability, we might have tight hips, tight knees, tight ankles. We're just finding that spot. And then once we can identify that where we can hold it steady, then we're lengthening. I'm a little tighter on that right hip, so I'm going to lower that. And lengthening through the spine as we sit upright, finding that balance on the sits bones. One inhale, nice and tall. One exhale, slightly turn the torso until your resistance lets you naturally stop. Another thing about being in the heat and being dehydrated, our body, our joints, the connective tissues all throughout our body, that can dry out as well. It has shown to be a little more brittle in drier conditions. So just staying hydrated will help you to be actually a little more flexible. Inhaling once more, finding that length, and then exhaling, returning to center. And then we're just going to come on back the way we came in. So we'll go ahead and bring in the hip as we extend through the right leg. And again, if you're really tight, move gingerly. You might find you're feeling fragile. Move slowly, coming back into your staff position. You can balance on the sits bones and bounce the knees. Tap out the knees, wiggle the toes, and then we'll go ahead, I believe, last item here, we are going on a locust belly. So moving on to the belly, in your best way of getting there, for me, sometimes I'm just rolling onto my forearm, coming down onto the belly that way, and then savoring, giving yourself a good breath or two, cycles or two, with the glasses off, and the brow either supported by the backs of the hands or arms are down at either side, and the cheek. Just depends on how the shoulders are feeling and the neck. And making sure as you transition from one cheek to the other, pressing into the chest and the belly, pubic bone for just a little bit of support so you can lift the head and turn to the other side. All right, and as we've given ourselves a little bit of time to adjust to being on the belly, we'll go ahead and bring the face back to center. Feel that length in the back of the neck, and the mouth and the nose will be slightly supporting the face. Back of the hands, arms are at the side, back of the hands on the mat. Go ahead and just gently point the right foot and then the left foot. You're lengthening through the legs. Find that the hips are giving you some support, the torso trunk kind of acting as that support. So you can lengthen down the mat, still in contact with the mat, down the legs, and then relax the legs. You might have felt your kneecaps just slightly lift, and that's typical as you're engaging from the hips all the way down to the toes. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, let's go ahead and lengthen through pointed feet down the mat. Feel your glutes engaged, the quads, the thighs are engaged, the calves nice and long. Extend the arms next, palms down. The hands can be about a foot off of the hip area, so you don't have to have them at a T away from the body, but just down at an angle. And then go ahead and relax the arms, legs. And you can turn the head once more to one side of the cheek, or you can rest the brow line on the backs of the hands if the shoulders feel comfortable being, elbows being lifted and folded above the shoulders. So give yourself just a brief counter stretch here. And one more time. We'll bring the arms down to our sides. We're going to try for a full locust here, but if you're not able to do that, if that's not a part of your practice, just continue lengthening down the mat, keeping contact with the mat. So with the next inhale, let's go ahead and lengthen through our pointed feet, legs, our hands. Palms are on the mat or on the floor, off to the side, our arms. And with the next inhale, go ahead and lengthen once more. And at the top of that inhale, see if you can lift the feet. The legs are still in contact, but see if you can lift the feet. See if you can lift the hands. You're feeling your trunk, the torso, the pubic bone, the belly, the chest supporting as the arms are just organically growing out. And that slight lift upwards. And then exhale the feet down, the arms slowly land, the shoulders, the head turns to the opposite side to rest if you're resting on your cheeks. And then go ahead and allow the palms to face up, arms are relaxed at your side. And just breathe. See if you can allow the body to just become an anchor on the mat. Hopefully in about 3 to 5 breaths, you'll feel the shoulders, if they're lifted, just slowly melt into the mat. And maybe the heels, if they were being actively held upwards, we'll just allow a slight rolling out away from the body. And then we'll go ahead and meet on our back for Shavasana. Go ahead and bring the face into orientation. And as you make that transition, and again, whatever is safe for you, I'm going to be sitting upwards, minding the time in a seated position as you enjoy your Shavasana while you're laying down, and allowing the practice to sort of wash over the body. Allow the body to respond to today's practice. So giving yourself that space, a blanket might be nice if you're in an air-conditioned room. Just cover yourself. Your arms can be resting, palms up at your side. Let the belly be soft. And just closing the eyes, or just a soft gaze. When you hear the 3 bells, we'll awaken from Shavasana. bringing the mind back to the body. Take note of sounds outside the room, sounds within the room, and finally back to the breath. Notice how the air moves through the nose with each inhale and how it exits the nose with each exhale. As you reconnect the body once more, go ahead and make any finger, toe movement, rocking of the body, anything to kind of reconnect to the body vessel. And we'll meet in an upright seated position. I'm in a hero pose, but if that's not available for you, in any easy seated position for you, even staff is fine. We're just going to be using our alternate nostril breathing exercise. And before we move to that, I just want to show you another scaling movement with the neck before we move into balancing with our usual alternate nostril breathing. One of the things about the jawline, the ear, the neckline, we have all these points along our systems, our immune system, our endocrine system, which kind of help us to regulate body function. So when we're dehydrated, when we don't have enough sleep, when we have certain nutrition losses, those are all going to affect our body's homeostasis. So sometimes massaging these areas along the back of the neck, the jawline, just helps to get that stimulation going, especially if we need more movement and we're not getting as much movement. So one of the things to think about is the hands. So let's go ahead and warm up the digits of the hands. And these have a lot of nerve endings that also are connected to these points. So we're going to use our hands, get them a little warm, get them a little, hopefully you're finding some friction. And then we'll just use the warmed up hands to kind of cradle the base of the neck. Let the pinky sides of your hands be right there at about where your ears and the jaw and the base of the skull meet. Kind of cradle that there. Gently allow the back of the hands, kind of find the back of the neck, like your fingers are back here at the base of the skull. And then we're just going to use these tops of our pinky fingers to just gently massage at the base of the neck, right where it meets at the skull, just like that, just a gentle, just let the skin use its friction as you gently drag the fingers down. And then we're going to kind of flick those fingers that way. You can do one hand at a time, keep the neck nice and steady, flick one side, use the opposite hand, keep the neck nice and steady, flick to the other side. And then we'll go ahead and bring our alternate nostril breathing in. Left hand is in chin mudra. That's just an index to thumb. We're going to bring this left hand to rest, palm side up on our left thigh. Right hand, bringing this into our Vishnu mudra hand position. The two fingers down on the mount of the thumb. If that's too difficult, you can always lift them up like this. You can rest them here if you need to and close the right nostril with the right thumb, left nostril with the right ring finger knuckle. But in Vishnu mudra, we're doing that action with the fingers down on the mount. So you choose how that right hand feels. We'll go ahead and inhale deeply. Close the right nostril with the right thumb. Exhale through the left. Fully exhaled at the bottom of the exhale, we're engaging the core. Press out all that belly air. Inhale. Close. Exhale through the right nostril. Inhale. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close. Exhale through the left. Last round. Inhale through the left. Close. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. And release the right hand. Let the breath return to its natural state. Release the mudras. Shake out your fingers if you need, and we'll bring the hands to our heart center. Thank you so much for joining me, Jeani, here at the ACC Community Room. Next week, we start classes on Thursdays, noontime. So I hope you have a wonderful time. Stay hydrated. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.